Welcome to the new Help Her Be Brave podcast show where you get great ideas on how you can help save lives. I'm Amy Ford with Embrace Grace.
And I'm Jessica Russo with Embrace Grace. And today we're talking with, yet again, another one of our favorite people, Samantha Golden. She is a pastor at Gateway Church in the DFW area. And she's a huge supporter of Embrace Grace. She's on our board. She does all the things. She's a single mom advocate. We love her.
Yeah, and she really has showed us from the very beginning how her heart for single moms and how to empower them, and that it's not about a hand up or a hand out, but a hand up, and how we empower them as women to be able to have their babies and their dreams too, and how they can do that. She has modeled that for us since the very beginning, and all of her stories of how she has helped people. There are some that people have written articles about her, how she's done it, and then sometimes I just hear it from a random single mom that's like, guess what she did now? And she just has such a heart and passion, and she inspires us so much. So I can't wait for you guys to meet her. Hey, Sam, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Really good. It's so good to see you. Sam, for people that don't know, Sam is like one of my favorites. And she helped Embrace Grace from the very beginning when we were just an idea before we were a nonprofit and working at or just doing our group at Gateway Church. And she helped so much get the dream going. And Sam, you just have so many ideas on how to help young single moms. And one of my favorite stories, I think I read it in maybe it was the Gateway magazine, but that you had talked about why, like the mom that was staying at your house and who was trying to do school. Yeah. Tell that story.
Yes. Okay. Well, first I have to say, I love you, Amy, and I love Embrace Grace. It has been so fun to just see what all Embrace Grace is doing and just how many moms and babies that Embrace Grace has touched. But so I'll tell you the story about the mom at my house. This was like probably almost 18 years ago. I had a girl that was staying with me, and she was actually my brother's ex-girlfriend. And she had just gone through a divorce, and she'd moved in with me. She had two small kids, and she was trying to get through school, and she'd been valedictorian of her high school class. And so she was brilliant. The girl was just brilliant. And she had 2 more years to get through to get her degree. She was wanting to become a teacher. And so anyways, one night I heard her little boy crying. And so I got up and I just looked over my stairs and I saw her sitting on the couch, and she had her school book sitting on her lap, and she was bawling. And my heart just went out to her because at that point she was homeless. She was staying at my house during the week so that she could go to UNT. And then on the weekends she was driving 2 hours away to her back home to her mom's house for the weekends. And so I just was overwhelmed. I cried for her that night, and I knew like the only way that she was really going to be able to get back on her feet was an education. And just watching her struggle that night, I just started praying, and I was asking the Lord to just show me how I could help her. And so that's really kind of what started just my heart to really do something for single moms.
So good. And personally, because of your own story, why don't you share a little bit about that as well?
Well, growing up, I'm the oldest of 6 kids, and when I was 15, my dad had moved to the Virgin Islands to start a business, and so my mom was, a single mom with 6 kids, and so I just watched how my mom didn't have the financial stress, but she did have just all the emotional stress of trying to raise, 6 kids in 6 years. Like we were all teenagers at the same time. So we were all, a little hormonal and just really hard for her at the time. And I remember just one night watching my mom, like she was just crying, and I was worried about her, and I'd gone on a ski trip, and I remember being afraid that and this is in a kid's mind. It's nothing that my mom said, but at the time I was just so afraid that my mom was depressed, and I didn't want her to hurt herself. And that was, my own kid, my own brain, coming up with that. My mom never threatened that, but I just remember feeling responsible for my mom and for my siblings and just wanting to make it better.
How did that play into experiencing an unplanned pregnancy?
I became a teenage mom. I had my oldest daughter when I was 17. Billy and I, we got married in high school, and although I wasn't a single mom, whenever you're both in high school and you're both young, it felt like being a single mom. My husband, he was not mature, and neither was I, but I was left alone a lot to take care of our baby. And so I just remember too, at the time when I was pregnant with Sadie, where we lived was Amarillo, and it had the highest teen pregnancy anywhere in the state of Texas. And so when I went into labor, the doctors and the nurses, they weren't nice to me. And so basically, I felt like they were just going to teach me a lesson. And so I was in labor for over 36 hours, and I ended up trying to push for over 12 hours. And so during that time, it was just a very, very difficult delivery. And the shame that I felt after I had Sadie was just overwhelming. The nurse said that I declined any food, so they didn't bring me food. And then it was August 9th, so it was hot. I had to share a room, and my side of the room, they refused to give me a fan. And so I just remember all the shame that I just felt for being this teenage mom, and just, even afraid to use my voice to ask for anything because I felt so much shame. And so from there, I ended up volunteering. A couple years later, I volunteered at our local crisis pregnancy center, and I worked with the teen moms there and did teen parenting. And I just wanted to try to make it better for other women. I didn't ever want anyone to feel what I felt. And so that's really where just kind of this passion to come alongside women that found themselves pregnant, whether they were single or whether they were it was unplanned, whatever. I just wanted to come alongside women that had an unplanned pregnancy.
Yeah, you've always been the best at that. And so you used to be the single parent family pastor at Gateway, and
Yes.
you kind of helped really launch that at Gateway. And if anyone's out there and ever heard of Gateway Church, it's a really big church, and it's a really amazing church here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I know with us leading Embrace Grace at Gateway, because that's where Embrace Grace started, it was cool to even hear the stories of how young moms were touched by you in some way, whether it was the single parent family or you specifically. Like, I know one mom was telling me just the other day, well, maybe it was about 6 months ago, that she was leaving the campus and you stopped her. And I'm like totally telling this story that I didn't tell you I was going to tell beforehand. And I don't remember it all, but she just said that you stopped her and was like, what's wrong? And she's like, nothing. And she's like, you said, no, what's wrong? And you said, is it financial? And she's like, a little bit. I'm just in a little bit of a slump, And you were like, how much do you need? And she's like, no, I'm not. I don't need to tell you. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you. And I don't know what happened, but basically she walked out. But one thing that you said, and I don't know if you've probably done this so many times, you don't even probably know who I'm talking about, but you said something to her, and I can't remember the exact words, but that you need to allow God to be your husband and a father to Jason, maybe. Do you remember the words of what you said?
Yeah, I do tell our moms a lot of times that it says, in Psalms, that he's a husband to the woman without a husband, and he's a father to the child without a father, and that he wants to be that to them. I love the story of Hagar. Like, she's been thrown out of nothing that she's done. It was no fault of her own that she's thrown out with her son. And she's going off to die. She doesn't know how she's going to provide for her son, but she doesn't know how she's going to provide for herself. And it says that she leaves her son and she goes to sit down a little bit away from him because she doesn't want to watch him die. And an angel comes to her and asks her what she's doing. Anyways, he meets her there and he tells her to get up, to go over and give her son a drink. So from there, Hagar names him the God that sees. And so I love that God gets the name, the God that sees, from a single mom. Mm-hmm. And so I love to remind our single moms of that, and that he is the God that sees them. And, no child is a mistake. God, he forms every child. And so every mother that he gives a baby to, he gives them exactly what they need to parent. And this was a while back when I very first started working in single parent ministry. I was getting ready to teach a parenting class, and I was reading all the statistics, and I was really getting discouraged by them. And I was like, God, what is up with these statistics? There's like single moms all through the Bible. Like, I don't understand. And anyways, as I'm praying about it, I felt like the Lord said, Samantha, those are not single parent statistics. Those are no parent statistics. One parent plus God equals success. And so I love to remind our single moms or single dads that, you know, when we just one parent, you being fully engaged with your child and inviting God in, you have exactly what it takes to raise your child, your baby. God never gives us more than what we can take, or that He's not going to walk alongside us and partner with us. And so some of the most amazing mothers I've ever met are the single moms that I've worked with, and they're some of the strongest women that I've ever met. And I just have so much respect for them and so much just honor for them. Like I am blown away by these women that I've gotten to work with, and I love Gateway Church because one time several years ago I was going in to do a presentation with Pastor Robert and the elders about I was trying to do I wanted housing for Sunday for single parents. And anyways, as I'm presenting this, Pastor Robert, he said to me, he said, Samantha, not now. Now's not the time, but I want you to know that God has called us to help single mothers and their children, and we are committed to single moms and their kids. And I can tell you I've been on staff here for 16 years, and I've worked with single parents here for almost 18 years, and that is one of the truest statements is what Pastor Robert made, is that Gateway Church is dedicated to single parents, and I have watched Gateway come alongside and love single parents, love their kids for the last 18 years. And so I feel so blessed that I get to be a part of a church that really has a heart for the fatherless and has a heart for the woman that without a husband. I believe that Gateway Church lives out James 1:27 so beautifully. And so it's just been so fun to get to partner with God to be His hands and feet to our single parent family.
For sure.
Yes.
And even the way, you know, the Embrace Grace was really modeled from the original Gateway group. And so even the way you guys go all out for the baby showers, and it's not just a small little event.
It's not a token shower.
No, it is over the top, so extravagant. So many, these girls have so many gifts, they can't even barely see the stage. Like, it's just so huge. Mm-hmm. And then they're just so overwhelmed by the love that they feel. And I love that we even do salvation message, altar call. Yeah. I mean, like the girls are bringing family members sometimes if they have them. And some of they're getting, I mean, we have salvations that happen at a baby shower for women with unplanned pregnancies at a church. Like, how cool is that? And then some of your other events, like talk a little bit about, because I feel like there's churches out here that are listening that could get ideas on how they can be more welcoming and to women that are single, and that, because I know that sometimes they feel like no one understands or a little bit disconnected from maybe the married small groups that seems like kind of infiltrate churches, and they feel isolated, but having specific programs or classes make a huge difference, and just the way you guys do hand-ups and not handouts that empower.
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's Jessica taking a quick break from the podcast to share some news with you. What if we lived in a world where every woman with an unplanned pregnancy always felt empowered to choose life for her unborn baby? Well, get your copy of Help Her Be Brave to discover your place in the pro-life and pro-love movement, a place where you can put your passions into action. To pre-order the book or learn more about the Help Her Be Brave initiative, visit www.helpherbebrave.com today.
So just what you said, everything we do at Gateway, I wanted it to be where they felt like they were getting a hand up, not a handout, and in a way that brought dignity and worth to the family. And so as a mom myself, my favorite thing on Christmas morning is watching my kids open the gifts that I went out and got for them, you know, as they're telling me what they want for Christmas, and I get to go to the store and pick it out. And so thinking about that, that's what I wanted for our single parents. And so what we do every year at Gateway is our congregation gives gift cards, and then we do a huge party for our single parents where the parents come and they get the gift cards, and they get to go shop for their kids. And while they're shopping, we do a party for their kids where they get the kids. This is my favorite part, y'all. This is the best.
It's so
the
cute.
kids get to go into a store and pick out a gift for their parents. And y'all,
Sweet.
the look on the kids' face when they get to pick out a gift for their parents, it is priceless. And one of the things that I used to love to do is I would go to Sam Moon's, it's a jewelry store here, and I would buy like fake diamonds, just gaudy jewelry. And the little boys would think they were getting their mom's diamonds, and it was so cute.
I'm sure they would get the gaudiest, the better.
Oh yeah, the gaudier the better, because the little boys thought they were getting their mom some big old diamonds.
Some
It was
bling,
so
bling.
fun.
And it's so cute because the kids
That's
can
right.
like
Well, in
barely
Texas,
wait.
we like the bling.
Yeah.
But what I liked, the thing about that was, so many times for our single moms, if you think about it, nobody's taking their kids shopping to get their parent a gift.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then what else we did there is, for our Christmas party, I didn't want the kids to have to pick between a parent, because so many times they're already having to pick between parents. And so when they come to our Christmas party, if the father is in their lives, they get to get their dad and their mom a gift. So
Sweet.
they go shopping. Then we have a happy birthday Jesus party. So they get cupcakes. We also have Santa Claus. We just bring everything there that night, and it's just a blast. And then we do a back to school event where our single parents get gift cards to go shopping to get their kids school supplies. And so part of the reason for that is I think it's important that our parents play an active part in getting their kids ready for school. And so they also know, like, if their kids are into Paw Patrol or Spider-Man, they can get like the notebook, they can specialize the school supplies to their own child. And so that's how we do back to school and Christmas. Back to school and Christmas are typically the two hardest times a year for single parents, because money's already tight for most single parents. And so as a church, we felt like if we could come alongside our single parents those times a year, that would be a blessing.
Yeah, that's one of
something that we do, we could sustain.
Right. And it's one of the hardest most financially stressful time for single moms. And then there's been little things here and there that you guys have done with different seasons. Like I know at one point when we were doing Monday night single parent families, you guys sometimes would have tutors that would volunteer their time, especially if a single mom was coming straight from picking their kids up from school, going to church or daycare to church, that there were tutors that could help some of the kids with their homework and stuff, so that the mom could just go and be filled up and go into her ministry class. And then I know you guys have been so great about just dinner, like
a warm meal.
Like these moms don't have time. They're going straight from work, picking their kid up from daycare and going straight to church. So to have one less meal they have to buy, number one, but number two, just to relax for a minute and spend time with their kids at one of the cafe tables and eating Chick-fil-A or pizza. Or whatever.
And the volunteers are always so great on those evenings to serve the single parent.
Oh, yes. Let me tell you, we have the best volunteers. So we are still doing that at our North Fort Worth campus. We still have tutoring for our single parent kids on Tuesday nights. And then we also still serve a meal. And we have our child care workers or child care ministers serve the meal with us, so that it feels more like a family. One of the things that I really wanted is for the kids to know the child care workers outside of just the child care room. So we invite them to have the dinner with us so that they can get to know the parents, and it just feels more like a family atmosphere.
Yeah, it really does. And I was just listening this past week to some video submissions of testimonies of actually girls, just not more than just Gateway, but all over the nation. And they would submit their testimonies of how, their unplanned pregnancy and then how Embrace Grace affected them. But one thing that I noticed last night, I watched 15 of them in a row, and probably 75% of them mentioned in their testimony that I got to go to Embrace Grace and I got to eat some food. And that was part of their, they are pregnant. So, girls got to eat for two, but that was significant enough to add in that piece of information that they got to eat.
But when you're struggling financially, on time, just in this unplanned season, to have someone care about your needs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not just trying to push an agenda down your throat, because let's face it, that's how a lot of the world views the church. But to come in and be served by people with a smile on their face and they want to be a part of your lives and give you a warm meal, like you feel cared for and loved.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? The thing about doing the meal that I love is, if you think about it, it is so nice to get to have a meal you don't have to cook or clean up from.
Oh,
Yes.
right.
And so,
Amen.
you've worked all day.
Hey, I'm married. I'll take that one too.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the best. But I was thinking too, like, part of what with the single parent ministry is, and with Embrace Grace, you're not just changing one generation, you're changing the next generation. And you're also making an impact on the generation before you. I think about so many of the moms that came to Embrace Grace when I was overseeing our single parent ministry. And I think about, a lot of times, I think about this girl that was in 8th grade. She came to Embrace Grace, and I was working with the school district. And so what we did with this particular girl is, we worked with the school district to put some money aside that when she got into high school, that if she stayed in school, we paid for her to go through their cosmetology program. And so not only did she get to go to Embrace Grace, she had, the leaders in Embrace Grace are so amazing to come alongside these girls. But so that she had a leader just come alongside her. She had girls that she met in the class come alongside her. But it wasn't just her that it impacted her parents. They were so blown away that a church would love their pregnant daughter like that they started attending the church. Wow. And so I think about the opportunity that we have to really change the generations when we embrace our single parent families. And and it's such the heart of the Father that we come alongside these families. And one of my favorite scriptures is Isaiah 58, 13, and it's in the Message translation, and it says, restore, rebuild, renovate, and make the community livable again. And I feel like as we just come alongside these families and we restore, we renovate, we rebuild, we begin to make our communities livable again. And that's what Embrace Grace is doing. That's what the church is doing. And that's what we're doing as we're coming alongside these families, is we're bringing hope. Hope deferred makes the heart sick. And being a single parent, it can be hard. Like, when you're carrying all the stress of the finances, you're playing mom and you're playing dad. It's hard. It's overwhelming. And so what I love about single parents is, I used to say, it's like giving a shot of hope every day, every week. You're giving them a shot of hope. And then they come back on the weekend and they get a shot of hope. They come back during the week for the single parents and they get another shot of hope. And so we all need support, and especially our single parents. So I just love that I've been so blessed to get to do that. And I love that I've gotten to be a part of Embrace Grace, and seeing these women's lives changed,
Yeah, and I love too, like you do all of this through the church, which is amazing. And then, we hear all these side stories of how you blessed,
you did,
slipping some cash to single moms to help them out. But then you also, one last thing, and I even actually mentioned this in my book, Help Her Be Brave, about how you just even more so, we're seeing the need for moms that just need a little bit extra of a hand up. And you have a certain story about a woman that was just homeless. I think there was maybe a fire or something. And and how, but I love, like, you saw a need and the woman had lost everything and you didn't know where to turn. And so it gave you the idea to start She Rises Cookie Company. Yeah. And which, by the way, is so delicious.
Oh my goodness.
And it's gluten-free. So I feel like I'm being crunchy and, good, but it is so good. And so this is like an extra little thing that you did on the side to give single moms a little bit of extra cash, whether they're getting blessed by it or actually having a job to make some extra money on the side. And I love that you just are thinking creatively of what can you do to help women. And a lot of times these single moms just need a tiny bit more. I know one that I kind of mentor and help a lot. She is a part-time teacher all day, but then she just needs about an extra $25 a day. And that kind of helps her take a deep breath and she can get through, pay her apartment, rent and all of that. And so she Grubhubs every night for $25, gets to $25, and then she's done. But it's something that she can have her kid in the car with her. And so having that kind of what you're doing with She Rises, just that extra something that they need if they have a flat tire or if something goes wrong with their car, it's like they can barely get by just enough with their financial situation. And so when something happens, a crisis or an interruption, it's like, forget it. Like there's no way. And then it'll set them back months. And so you just being creative and thinking of a way. And so I just want to encourage everyone that's out there too. Which, Sam, have you always been a baker? Is that something that you're like, I can bake cookies? Like,
where did that come from?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always loved to bake. But my second daughter had gluten allergies, and so I had to learn how to make, gluten-free desserts. And I have a big sweet tooth. And so anyways, I just started making these chocolate chip cookies that everybody loved. And I took them to a small group one night, and the guy that was hosting the small group asked me if I ever thought about selling them. And so that's kind of how She Rises, the idea of it came to start the cookie company. Because I thought, I'll just start a cookie company, and I will hire single moms, and all the profit will go towards helping single moms.
I'll just start a cookie company.
And it's just kind of a small thing that you're doing on the side. You obviously work full time for a church, but it's just, we all have something inside of us that God has given us that we can use, whether it's a talent, a gift, our finances, resources, so that we can help women feel empowered to be brave and choose life. And you have been such a great role model for us. And
cheerleader. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And Sam is on the board of Embrace Grace too. So she's got that going as well. She's got a lot going on.
She does a couple things.
Just a couple. Well, Sam, thank you so much for being on today. And you inspire us every time we talk to you. And, I want to have you come back in a few seasons to talk more, because I love even just about helping women get off of financial or government assistance and getting on their feet, and how the church can play a role in that, because you have some really great insight into that too.
Yes, I would love to talk about that. That's one of my favorite things.
Yes, I know. So good. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. We love you. You know, we have a staff member who came to know the Lord because of just seeing on a church website that they had an Embrace Grace group. And she was a single mom for a really long time, and someone just kept asking her to come to church, come to Single Parent Family Church at Gateway. And she was like, no, she just felt weird about it. I don't know what that's about. But one day she kind of was just digging around on the website, just looking at the website, seeing what all they had. And she saw Embrace Grace. And she wasn't even pregnant at the time. I mean, I think her son was like 6 or 7. I don't know. But she was reading about it, and she said, if a church has something like this, then they must be a good church, a church that I feel safe to come to. And so she ended up trying it, totally getting involved in Single Parent Family, then started going on the weekends to the regular services, ended up getting saved, and now ends up working here. And it was all because of just seeing that this was a safe place for women with unplanned pregnancies. Like, knowing that the church is a safe place is huge. Not only like to people that we don't even realize, like our ministry and the church having our ministry didn't directly affect her, but it was just the attitude and the warmth that came from having it that helped her feel like she could come, and like the salvations happened. Wow. Amazing.
Hearing about Embrace Grace is what empowered me, or made me see the church in a whole new way. I had experienced abortion as a teenager, walked away from the Lord, and fast forward 15 years, I hear about a church celebrating girls with unplanned pregnancies. I was like, this church has to be for real. Like, this is what the church is and should be. Like, that's the reason that I now know the Lord in the way that I do. And I'm working at Embrace Grace. So it's just like this beacon of hope, like proving that it's safe here for you to come just as you are. No need to clean up first. Bring your junk with you.
Yeah. I love the quote that, I don't know who said it, but a church without the broken is a broken church. and that it should be safe for all people, no matter what they're going through, that our doors should be open for every single one. But especially having a specific programs for single moms is so powerful, because it can help them feel like they're not alone and that they have a sense of community. And, Sam talked a little bit about Hagar, the first single mom in the Bible. And one other part to the story is her son, Ishmael, means God hears. And so I love that the first kid that was born from a single parent family, that was his name. Like, God heard even his needs, and he provides even for him. It's not about just the mom or just the baby. It's he loves us all. And so when the church can play a powerful role in that, in helping these moms get back on their feet and pointed in the right direction, and helping them just catch their breath when they feel like life is just completely overwhelming them. And I know serving in single parent family ministries it's
amazing.
It really is. It's so many miracles, front row seats to them, the stories, and it's just, I love it. They're so thankful, and to have this one time that they can come together, but then feeling support all through the week and feeling like they're a family, which is what we want in Embrace Grace too, that we want them to feel like they have a sense of belonging and a place that they can just talk about what they're going through and not feel judgment, and they only feel love. And so I just hope if anyone's here listening today, you may have gotten creative ideas just to walk one-on-one with a single mom, or it could be if you're a pastor or a ministry leader and you've never really thought about the importance of having a specific ministry for single parent families. I just highly encourage you to have a specific place for them, or even offer, inspiring someone within your congregation to start a small group. It could even start there, or a specific night of the week where they have childcare. And you can make it as small or as broad as you can, as big as you can, but having a place for them is huge. And Embrace Grace is a great place to start as well. Every church should have an Embrace Grace group. So check out embracegrace.com. And also, if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, or you just want to watch online, gatewaypeople.com has they're just amazing church. And we're kind of partial, obviously, because that's where we've gone. And I think I've gone there like 18 years. But it's so good. And so check that out. And we just want to hear, like, if your church is doing something really creative on how they're loving and helping single moms, connect with us and let us know. Go to helporbebrave.com, reach out and tell us like how your church is making a difference for single moms. And also share this YouTube with your friends, hit the subscribe button, and help get the word out about how, if we can all work together, we can really help women be brave and save lives. Right?
Right.
Totally. So thank you so much for tuning in.